Cthulhu Jack.
I remember first seeing this box art way back when. It never sparked a rental from me, so all these eons later it traveled across the streaming universe to find me once again. After realizing this was Jeffrey Combs' first principal role,
I bid you welcome to the Castle Ragzor.
passing this one up again for another 41 years was just not an option.
Just do it!
I am watching you.
I'm talking about Frightmare from 1983. Shot originally in 81, this horror goof of a fog-filled frame after frame reanimated movie icon who decides to kill his fan base is a weird, wild, and inconsistent ride to say the least.
We're gonna have our answer.
We open with Conrad Radzoff, a veteran Christopher Lee Dracula-type character who's not hitting his bite marks properly.
I don't give a shit what you did 40 years ago.
When the director lacks any more patience with our fanged fiend, he's nudged off the picture for good. Slinking away into the night,
Back to the mansion, Karl Josef.
we find our tall, dark, and spooky being fawned over by fans of a local horror society.
I thought the world had forgotten me a little.
When he takes a spell, only to be revived by one of the drama students, this hastens his decision on not only a final resting place, but to make sure he goes out in style.
Stop acting. Do your job as a director. Is everything ready?
Faking his own death in front of his longtime director, who shows no love for this dead man,
The world is at last rid of you, and I am rid of you too.
is snuffed out by Radzoff. Man, this guy isn't even a resurrected corpse yet, and he's already chalking up the body count. When he finally kicks off, he leaves behind a final video for his fans to enjoy.
Thank you, my friends, for coming to my funeral.
Visiting the old bones later that evening, the horror squad decides to weekend at Bernie's this floppy corpse back to have a little dinner and a dance.
Where is your sense of humor, Pasadena?
Who doesn't want a pet raven chilling in their house? Hauled up to the attic for a quiet resting place, this is where the movie's continuity flies off. We cut to the next day where Porky has become sheriff in this town now after getting his revenge.
And there's no ransom notes of any kind.
We jump to Mrs. Radoff and her medium to contact Conrad from the beyond. We then cut back to Conrad rising from his slumber the very same night as we just left him. With the party fogger working overtime now as Conrad begins knocking off his fans one by one, where no one seems to notice the woman on fire and screaming on the front lawn till I guess 2 days later. Or the dumb-weighted elevator where he stashes the other two friendly stiffs. How do these kids live in this place and yet have zero clue where everything is?
I have looked upside down and backward.
Each one is picked off either by wandering back to the crypt and being Dr. Five to death, or this gal who hears a noise, leaving her popsicle on the TV. Wait, who does that? To be rammed in the head by a floating coffin. I can't believe I just said that. Combs meets his maker by losing his noggin, which, by the way, is the reason why he was hired as a principal actor in the first place. They had already built the fake head, which was a brunette. The added touch was having the Raven appear and peck away at Combs' cranium. Who knew decades later he would put on a one-man Edgar Allan Poe show called Nevermore?
Raven!
We find Porky doing what he does best.
But you gotta give me something more substantial.
Going off a clue to visit the Horror Society based on the professor delivering a red carnation that Radzoff was wearing at the time he was buried.
The red carnation is your signature.
That was an easy case to solve. Our leading lady stakes this undead character while her beau heads back to Radzoff's crypt to deposit his body. As Porky does a little more smoking and an officer nonchalantly pops Combs' dome in a bag, leaving us with Head Stooge hallucinating until he's distraught enough to become bacon in this inferno ending. So, if you're looking for an 80s classic spook fest that has goofy enough moments and you're not looking to think too hard, this might be the Raven's Claw you're looking for. Until next time.
A night to remember.
Thank you to our YouTube members and everyone out there for your continued support. And Hail Cthulhu!